All rise. Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay. The Court of Appeals for the 4th Judicial Appellate District is now open pursuant to call.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon, all. In February of 2001, which recognized the legal accomplishments of Chief Justice Carlos Cadena, who served as the first Mexican-American on this court and who retired in 1990 after 25 years on the bench. His picture is hung out in the hallway. He and Justice Reeves are the namesake of this building where this courtroom sits in the Cadena Reeves Justice Center. And where we presently are now, able to invite a greater audience via our live stream on the Fourth Court's YouTube channel. Greetings to our virtual audience, which includes many members of the bench and bar, who join us today to celebrate the life and contributions of the Honorable Solomon Casseb. But for the present environment, this courtroom and these proceedings would very likely have this courtroom bursting at the seams with those who would have wished to attend in person. We host these memorials in partnership with the San Antonio Bar Association. The purpose of these court memorials is twofold. First, it is intended to honor the memory of judges and attorneys whose lives serve as an example to other members of the profession. In so doing, we inspire ourselves and promote professionalism and an appreciation of how our skills and talents continue to serve to help others. A second purpose of these services is to promote our legal fraternity, as honoring the lives of our esteemed colleagues gives us all deeper roots within our own legal community. As we begin these proceedings, allow me to please introduce the members of the Fourth Court of Appeals, beginning to my far right, Justice Liza Rodriguez, to her left, Justice Irene Rios, to my immediate right, Justice Patricia Alvarez, to my immediate left, Justice Luz Helena Chapa, to her left, Justice Beth Watkins, and to my far left, Justice Lori Valenzuela. The court sits en banc again, and to benefit from one of the many privileges this court has is to conduct these court memorials, a tradition that has been, that has survived with the Fourth Court for now a few decades. If I may also at this time introduce the family members of Judge Casseb, who are in attendance in person here in our courtroom this afternoon. Judge Casseb's wife, Celeste Casseb, daughters Courtney Garcia and husband James, Casey Casseb, and Lauren Belvin, along with Bryce. Brothers Michael Casseb and Joe Casseb and his wife Beth. Welcome. And on behalf of the court, our condolences for the loss of our esteemed colleague, Judge Casseb. At this time, if I may also introduce Mr. Casseb, Joe Casseb, and invite him to the podium to share remarks.
May it please the court.
It does.
On behalf of Celeste and her three daughters, my three precious nieces, Courtney, Casey, Lauren, and their families, we thank the Fourth Court and the San Antonio Bar Association for this memorial. It means a lot to us. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. It would have meant a heck of a lot to Saul. Saul loved his family, his friends, his colleagues. He loved being a judge. He loved carrying on the tradition of his namesake, our dad, Solomon Jr. He enjoyed the company of his fellow judges, and he really enjoyed being a mentor to new and younger judges that would many times ask him for advice and guidance. He loved his court. He loved his court staff. And he loved calling it the Fighting 288th. Right, Eddie? He was honored and he was proud to wear that black robe. It meant so much to him and it meant so much to all of us. Saul also loved being a drummer. He played in several terrific rock bands as he was growing up through high school and law school, culminating as the drummer of the Court Jesters, where he gave himself a nickname that we all adopted, the Heartbeat of the Court Jesters. And as a fellow lawyer and musician, I can tell you he was both a great judge and a great drummer. So what do you get when you combine a great judge, great drummer? All right, I'll tell you. You get someone that finds out that the presiding courtroom has been renovated and dedicated to our dad, Solomon Jr., and it has a state-of-the-art sound system. And he quickly discovered about that sound system and that you could put CDs into that sound system, and he was determined that it was perfect for blasting rock and roll tunes for unsuspecting attorneys who might show up late in the day, and he would play music for them. I've had dozens of lawyers over the years tell me that they would get to the courthouse, go to presiding, and he'd have the Court Jester CD queued up and playing it. And I always wondered whether those lawyers had any choice in the matter or whether they had to listen to 3 or 4 cuts before he'd rule on their motions. This is a special day for our family. It honors someone very, very special. I'm honored just to call myself his brother. We pay tribute today to a very wonderful man, a man that was beloved by so many, who enriched all of our lives and will be sorely missed by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, these court memorials are hosted in collaboration with the San Antonio Bar Association. I invite the current president, Steve Chiscano, to the podium for its resolution.
May it please the court. This is the memorial resolution on the death of the Honorable Solomon John Casseb III on behalf of the San Antonio Bar Association. Whereas the Honorable Solomon John Casseb III was born May 28, 1948 in San Antonio, Texas, and passed away on December 7th, 2022. And whereas Judge Casseb graduated Lee High School in 1966, after which he received his bachelor's degree in political science from St. Mary's University. In 1973, he earned his JD from the University of Texas at Austin. And whereas Judge Casseb practiced family law at the firm of Casseb and Pearl, Inc. for many years, and was appointed to be a district judge by Governor Rick Perry in 2008. He served as a district judge for more than 10 years. And whereas after retiring, Judge Casseb continued serving as a senior judge, arbitrator, and mediator. He was deeply admired by the legal community and known for his equal treatment of all people, colleagues, and clients alike. He served as chair of the State Bar of Texas Grievance Committee and was a longtime member of the San Antonio Bar Association, serving on the Fee Dispute Committee. And whereas a lifelong drummer, Judge Casseb put himself through college by playing in many bands like the Laughing Kind and the Court Jesters. And whereas Judge Casseb was an active member of Concordia Lutheran Church and loved spending time with his wife, his children, grandchildren, and friends. Whereas Judge Casseb is survived by his wife of 50 years, Celeste Casseb, daughters Courtney, Casey, and Lauren, and grandchildren Emily, Colby, Kennedy, Berkeley, Brody, and Mitchell. Be it resolved that the San Antonio Bar Association and the Texas Fourth Court of Appeals express their genuine regret on the death of the Honorable Solomon John Casseb III and their sincerest sympathy to the family and friends. Be it further resolved that this resolution be appended to the minutes of the San Antonio Bar Association and copies sent to his family. Be it further resolved that this resolution be placed in the permanent records and minutes of the Texas Fourth Court of Appeals, dated this 9th day of November, 2023, signed by me, Steve Chiscano, President of the San Antonio Bar Association. It is a true honor to be able to have read that to you today. Thank you.
And so it be resolved that the permanent records and minutes of the Fourth Court of Appeals shall reflect the proceedings of this afternoon, honoring the life of Judge Saul Casseb. If I may recognize also a few members of that are present, a few members of the judiciary, colleagues of Judge Casseb, who are also present today, Judge Michael Mary and Judge Norma Gonzalez. Welcome to the court, judges. Each memorial service is recorded by a court reporter and later transcribed, a copy of which is presented to the family and is entered into the formal minutes of the court. Hoffman Reporting and Video Services has donated their services for this purpose and have done so since the first day of our court memorial tradition. They volunteer their time and donate their services for all of these memorial services. So please join me in applause to express our gratitude. Very good. That concludes our proceedings this afternoon. The court will remain in recess for the rest of the day, honoring Judge Casseb. The family and friends in attendance are welcome to remain in the courtroom. The members of the court would like to enjoy your company following once we adjourn. But at this time also, I'd like to invite members of the bench here who wish to express in their own words in honor of Judge Casseb. I will begin to my far left, Justice Lori Valenzuela.
Well, usually I speak last. So I was going to say, because I know my colleagues and I know how they feel about Judge Casseb, that I was probably going to just echo a lot of what they said, which was he was a fabulous judge and a fabulous man. But I have quite a few memories of him. I never practiced in front of Judge Casseb because I practiced only on the criminal side and then presided over the criminal court. So my experiences with him were solely on the campaign trail, which you could say was fortunate or unfortunate, depending on your perspective. But what I learned during that time was that he was so honest and fun and accepting of our campaign destiny, that this was what we had to do, and just had a fabulous attitude about it all. And while campaigning, I learned about his grandchildren and his daughters. I already knew his wife, of course, Celeste, but it gave me an insight as to who he was. And so what I've learned before, what I learned during our campaign trail, and then subsequent to winning and then serving on the bench with him, is that he brought to the bench a heartfelt desire to do what was right. And he was a great judge. People knew he was a great judge and respected him for that. I only got to hear him drum a few times, so I can't speak to his drumming skills, but I can tell you that the time he spent with me, it was very apparent how much he cared about all of you. And so thank you for the time that you gave him to us in the legal profession, his time on the bench, and on the campaign trail. It was my honor to know Judge Casseb.
Thank you, Judge. Justice Watkins.
I'm gonna try really hard to get through this. One of the things that I appreciated the absolute most about Judge Casseb is he always saw the best in people. And he was really, really good at identifying people and causes that maybe hadn't been introduced, but putting them together. And it was actually because of a Judge Casseb setup that I became friends with Casey, who is one of the dearest friends of my life. Because he got to know my friend Crystal Thompson through family law and said, well, Crystal, you sure seem like a lot of fun. Casey's a lot of fun. You guys should hang out. And that was more than 20 years ago. And Casey, I cannot imagine my life without you in it. He was so proud of his family. And getting to see him at the courthouse, he always had new pictures on his phone, and was just Mitchell and Brody. I saw pictures of y'all every single time I saw him. He just was bursting with the pride that he had for you. And I love every time I walk into your house, Casey, seeing the drum set and knowing that Mitchell still has that connection to Tall. He was so proud of y'all, and it came through in every ounce of his being. Thank you for sharing him with us.
Thank you, Justice Watkins. Justice Chapman.
I'm usually the crier on the bench. And so I'm going to try to inject you with heartfelt moments. But please know that Judge Casseb was all things integrity, respect, faith, love, and above all, family. And when I heard Joe at his memorial service refer to him as Solly, it was very endearing. And he was such a girl dad. So when I was first elected, the first time I had seen Judge Casseb post-election was in the parking lot where we used to park. And he was so intrigued because my mother-in-law was his classmate in high school as well as Celeste's. And so he just really wanted to kind of, ask about family, and it was always about family. But that particular day, it was more so about making sure that I wasn't going to pull out and hit his car one day because I parked directly behind him, but he managed to back into the space perfectly. And so I would have essentially hit the front of his car if I had backed out, not paying attention. So he made it sure that because I inherited a parking space, I wasn't going to hit his car. So I want to preface this with, I had asked for forgiveness, and I had already confessed to Judge Casseb before I share this story. So this one particular day, we were all leaving the courthouse because Chief Justice Sandy Marion, Justice Marion at the time, was having a kickoff to her chief race. And so there we all went to the venue. And when I had seen Judge Casseb, I approached him and said hello, and he was always, very cordial. And but there was, we poked fun at each other all the time. And this particular day, I thought I was going to do something that was a little out of the ordinary. And so I went up to him and I said, Judge Casseb, I am so sorry. Did you see the dent on your car? And he said, what? And I said, oh my gosh, you didn't see it. I left a note on your car. You probably didn't even see, I was stone cold. He just did not even realize that I was fibbing and trying to poke fun. And so, so I just left it at that and let him just kind of sit with that. So I left after he did. I left the venue after he did, and I drove by, and Judge Casseb and Judge Hilbig were walking around Judge Casseb's car looking for the dent. And so that's my favorite story. But it was just felt so vindicated. But he of course forgave me, and we carried on just like, just like we would. And I just, yeah, I mean, his spirit is definitely around. And he's obviously touched the lives of countless number of people. For all the good, all the great reasons, right? So thank you for sharing this space with us and this time today to honor such an incredible giant in every sense of the word. May you rest in peace.
Thank you, Justice Chapa. Justice Rios.
I guess I'll start out by saying from my family to your family, our deepest condolences. He was a wonderful husband, I'm sure, and a fantastic girl dad. He was a great lawyer and wonderful judge, and he was a great friend to our family. For those who don't know, the Casseb brothers, Joe and Judge Casseb, would always get together during the year with the Rios brothers. So they always had that, lunch a few times a year, and they shared a lot in common. And the big things were Longhorn fans, diehard Longhorn fans, and they're good family men, lawyers, and above all, they just enjoyed each other's company and made each other laugh a lot. And so my husband would tell me stories, and he said that Joe and the judge would just have him in stitches. Big brother, incessant big brother, right? Would be telling Joe, don't forget to do this, and you got to do this. And Joe would say, all right, yep, I'm only 60 some years old. I've only raised a family. I think I know I need to do that. But he was just a wonderful man. And I treasure the time that he spent with us as lawyers, as colleagues. And I appreciate the time that he really dedicated to my husband and to my brother-in-law and Joe. I want to say to you, don't stop laughing. I know you've lost a big brother that you've described as your perfect brother. But a big part of the two of you was that laughter that you brought to people. And so just continue to laugh. And his daughters, they're beautiful women, had a wonderful girl dad, and you're his legacy. So just live every day and make him proud. You did every day that he was here, but just continue that. And thank you so much for letting us have him. Thank you.
Words to end by. Clearly, Judge Casseb is one of the few who, because of their character, their generosity, and the respect that he's earned both as a practitioner and a member of the bench, Judge Casseb does fall within that demographic of judges who've made an impact to both bench and bar, even beyond his impact on the family. As someone who was both an advocate alongside him, someone who appeared before him as a practitioner, and someone who was privileged to be able to call him a colleague and friend. I believe I can speak for all members of the judiciary, those who adored him and respected him here in Bexar County, and of course across the state of Texas. He will be missed. Certainly his loss, because it was unexpected, was heavier, particularly among the colleagues that he on a day-to-day basis worked and played well together in the old Bexar County Courthouse. So on behalf of the Fourth Court, our condolences expressed to the family and friends of Judge Casseb. And at this time, court is adjourned.